Welcome to today's episode of our podcast, where we're diving into the fascinating world of open source development and the importance of API authentication and authorization. You know, when you think about it, APIs are like the doors to our digital communities. They allow different software systems to communicate and share information, but without proper locks and keys, everything could be exposed. Which is pretty scary, right? So, let's unpack what API authentication and authorization really mean. First, authentication is about verifying identity. Think of it like showing your ID at a club. You can't just walk in. You need to prove that you are who you say you are. In the programming world, this could mean checking a user's credentials, like a username and password, before letting them access your data. Now moving on to authorization. That's where things get a bit more nuanced. Once you've identified yourself, authorization determines what you're actually allowed to do. Imagine you're in that same club and you've got your ID checked. But if you try to enter the VIP section without the right permissions, well, the bouncer isn't letting you through. In terms of APIs, this means setting rules on what different users can access based on their role or permissions. It's important to note that figuring out how to securely authenticate and authorize users can get complex very quickly. There are various methods, such as OAuth, which is widely used and basically allows a third-party service to access your information without sharing your password. Think of it like giving a key to a friend so they can water your plants while you're on vacation. You trust them, but you don't want them to have full access to your house. Now, speaking of complexities, what happens when we don't get it right? We could be looking at some serious vulnerabilities. For example, without proper API security, hackers could exploit weaknesses to gain unauthorized access to sensitive data. Yikes, right? Given how pivotal APIs are in the digital ecosystem, ensuring robust API authentication and authorization processes isn't just a best practice, it's crucial for safeguarding user data and maintaining trust. So, what do developers need to consider when building these systems? Well, they should start by following best practices, like always using HTTPS to secure connections and regularly reviewing and updating their authentication methods as new threats emerge. And it's not just about technology. There's also a cultural aspect within development teams to prioritize security. Think of it like this. Just as you wouldn't leave your front door wide open, if a developer doesn't have a security-first mindset, their code could be an easy target. Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a thought-provoking question. How do you think the future of API security will evolve as our digital landscape becomes more interconnected? Will it become easier, or will the challenges only get more complex? Let's keep this conversation going in our forums, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. So to summarize, we've explored the essentials of API authentication and authorization, the risks of neglecting security, and the importance of fostering a security-minded culture among developers. Thanks for tuning in today. Stay curious, and until next time, keep those digital doors locked.